Good afternoon and welcome to Omnidog's Vault with my guest, the Uncanny Omar. Omar, how are you doing today?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Thank you for having me,
Thank you
especially
for
for this specific topic that we're talking about today. It's
yeah,
really
thank you for
important.
joining. You just got done with your own live stream. I appreciate your jumping right from it into this.
Oh, you're welcome. If people aren't tired of hearing me, yeah, yeah. So I told people I would be coming on here to talk about this um, sad subject, and then my wife and I are taking a little getaway for a couple of days. So
Oh, well, thanks for working me into the schedule. I appreciate it. You are a
you're my
busy guy.
you're my boy, Jess. Of course I
Right
had to.
on, man. Well, today we're talking about, well, we're remembering Dennis O'Neil, who excuse me, was so important to the comic industry and so important, especially to to me personally. His writing was growing up. I It was in 1970 that I first saw the cover to Green Lantern 76 on the. I was 11 years old and I saw it on the drugstore spinner rack, and I said, "Who the heck is Green Arrow? Think who the heck is Green Arrow? Think he's doing shooting out the
Lantern.
lantern of Green Lantern? What's this guy up to?" And I opened it up to the most incredible art I had ever seen. I had seen Neil Adams' art before in like World's Finest, and I I don't know if I had seen it in anything but World's Finest up till that point. Maybe I did, but and then it got into such an incredibly important and amazing topic about racism and how Hal Jordan had worked for the Blueskins and done a lot for the Purple Skins, but never done anything for the Black Skins. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And I was just 11, and that really changed my outlook and perception on the world of comics and what they could um, be about. Now I realize it was sort of the dawning of a social conscience for me, anyway, and maybe for comic books. Um, but that was the quickest way into my brain back then, was through Mad Magazine and or comic books.
Hmm.
And so I was just amazed at it, and it was uh, it's too short of a run. It ended on uh, I think it ended on issue 89, and there were a couple of filler issues in there. So they really didn't get to write all that much. But and then they dealt with Speedy's heroin addiction, and I was
Yeah.
about 12 when that happened. I was just like, "Whoa, what are they not going to talk about here?" And it really just sort of blew the scales off of my eyes and made me aware of the outer world, because I'll be the first to admit I grew up a sheltered little kid. I lived in a fantasy world of comic books and Mad magazines and the television, so I didn't really know what was going on in the outside world, and this was revolutionary to me.
So my story is a little bit different with Dennis O'Neil because I'm a little bit younger than you are. Not
Right?
much, not much.
Yeah, you are
Uh,
a lot younger. It's okay.
well, so my years reading Dennis O'Neil off of the spinner rack wasn't until he had returned back to Marvel Comics.
Right.
Right when he came back to Marvel Comics, he started writing Amazing Spider-Man. So it was like Amazing Spider-Man 210. I think that was one of my first earlier issues, and that was the first appearance of Madame Web. So after that, but the big one that I remember Dennis O'Neil is when he went back from Marvel because he kept bouncing around, right? Marvel, Charlton, DC,
Hmm.
Marvel, DC, and then eventually he did something that just forever will stick with me, and that was the very first time, and it probably has to do with the art, much like you with Neil Adams, but it was Joe Quesada, and it was Sword of Azrael, Volume One or Issue One. I
Mm.
remember Sword of Azrael at the comic book shop, Issue One had this amazing dude, and I'm like, I had no idea it was even a Batman thing. No idea it was Batman related. And I saw Astrid, this character with flame coming out of this blade in his hand, and then he had a hood. And then yeah, it was like guest starring Batman because Batman was on the backside of the cover, and I'm like, I'm getting this. And it was Dennis O'Neil. He had taken over several of the Batman titles. He kind of was like the editor of the Batman titles during that time, from like '86 all the way up until the early '90s. Um, 'Cause he did some Legends of the Dark Knight, but that was the very first moment that I was like, oh man, I got to start reading other stuff. And then I started getting, because you got to think back then there wasn't trade paperbacks as they are now,
Right.
right? It's easier and more accessible for anybody to be like, oh, Dennis O'Neil, let me go look what he wrote. Okay, I'll go get that trade paperback. For kids my age that were like getting into Sword of Azrael, oh, Dennis O'Neil, let me go ask my comic book guy what else he wrote. Oh, he wrote that. Okay, cool. Oh, he wrote that Neil Adams run of X-Men. Yeah, that's going to be a little more expensive on the pocketbook. So I didn't get to read those
Mm,
until they were properly collected in the. That was one of the first few Marvel Masterworks I got, was the Neil Adams and Dennis O'Neil run on X-Men. I mean, he's the one that revived Professor Xavier. So,
right.
and then of course through a series of collected editions, I went and read all the stuff that he did at DC with the Demon trilogy, and yeah, he left a big impact on a lot of people. And I mentioned this earlier on my show, but the one thing that I think we had Shane Davis on our show last night, me and Dan talking about Transformers. He's the guy that named Optimus Prime.
I
He
was
came
going
up
to
with that
say
name.
that. I was going to say that's probably the most important thing to you, that he's the guy that came up with the name for
I was I
Optimus.
was messing around with my wife. I'm like, if it had been like Bob Budiansky who got the name Megatron, but somebody else could have come in and named him something else. I made the name up. What was it? Maximus Truckus or something like that. Like we could have been talking about that instead of a character known as Optimus Prime. Very iconic name, and that's he leaves a big legacy, man. 81 is a good run, right? 81 is a good run. We lived
Oh,
a
yeah. Yeah. I hope to make it to 81.
right, and then just look at the amount of things that he created. He created my favorite Batman villain.
Right. You're
And
right. Now, I pronounce it Ra's al Ghul. There's other people that pronounce it
I pronounce it Raja
Ra's al Ghul. And
Raja Ghul. I do Raja Ghul.
yeah,
Uh,
however you
it's an
pronounce
interesting
it.
name, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember reading years ago about the professor that told him how to pronounce it, and he's like, "No, he's obviously pronouncing it right." And there was another professor who was like, "Actually, because of that apostrophe, it's supposed to be pronounced this way." And then we had the animated series that kind of did its own thing, and then you had Dennis O'Neil. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting name that most everybody pronounces their own way.
Right.
So
And the idea of the Lazarus pit, and he came up with that, right? How Roz was
mhm.
able to keep coming back and live for so long. Um, and that was a seminal run in Batman that he and Neil Adams did, that took Batman back to his darker roots. I think there's a lot of people who argue that
Yeah,
if it hadn't been for that run, because you were coming right off of the sort of Batman '66 era, had Dennis O'Neil not taken him back to the darker detective, um, maybe we wouldn't have had Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. It bounced right off of that. Um, I would argue that Denny O'Neil run on Batman is just as important, because it took the sort of lighthearted, campy pop culture figure that Batman was, and at the time, and really returned him, or placed him in a darker place, and in a more interesting place.
I'm with you because I think during that time we had the Adam West stuff. It was so hokey and cheesy, and in the comics it was so different, right? It became so different. You had a guy whose name was the Demon's Head become the villain of the story arc, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
That was an awesome storyline and a great way to introduce a new character, who to me, like I said, is the greatest Batman villain.
right. I can't get it. I cannot get tired of Roz like I am of the Joker. I'm tired of the Joker. I'm ready for the Joker to be killed. I'm ready for Batman to break his neck. But I don't. There always seems to be such a mutual respect from Roz. He always calls him the detective between Roz and Batman.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. But yeah, I mean, he did a lot of work. He did work for Marvel. He did work on DC. He did X-Men, like his Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams.
Now
Do
that's a
X-Men
pretty big,
65.
yeah, that's a pretty big deal that he brought the Professor back.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was like Roy Thomas, he started working with Neil Adams, and they were both together on the book. Then Roy Thomas eventually left, and then it just kind of became the Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams book. This is before he went on to do what I guess what is now called, because it wasn't back then, right? The hard traveling heroes.
Yeah, that's what they're known as now. I don't remember them called that back then, but
Yeah, I seem to recall that you said that before. Like that's not what we called it back then.
yeah, that seems to be something they picked up along the way. But yeah, traveling to the heartland of America and trying to see what America was all about, while having I can't remember which Guardian it was they took with them.
Ganthet. It wasn't Ganthet, I can guarantee that.
And another thing that so those are some pretty high points, and then DC picked him to start a new arc, a big new arc in Superman with the Kryptonite Nevermore famous Neil Adams cover with Superman breaking the green chains.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Swan doing the interiors. Again, I was young and very young, and Superman, they had been sort of doing more interesting things with Superman than they were with Batman, in my opinion. But this took it into a different place, where he started working for a TV station, and Kryptonite didn't bother him anymore. And there was a doppelganger of him made of sand that followed him everywhere, and you didn't know what the intentions of the doppelganger were. And that was a big deal, that they actually, after all that continuity of Superman, that they gave Dennis O'Neil the opportunity to really revamp Superman. That was my first revamp of a character.
Is that collected anywhere? I've never read that. I have not read his Superman story. I know of it, and I know of the famous cover, but that's a series that I never. Because remember, my DC kind of starts with Crisis on Infinite Earths. Because I've tried Golden Age and Silver Age, with the exception of the Batman stuff that's been properly collected. But has his run on Superman been collected in anything?
That's a good question. I'd have to look that up. I know the story by heart, but just because I read it so many times.
Yeah.
I would have to look that up to see if it is collected. I don't have it. I don't personally have it in a collection. Once they start collecting Bronze Age Superman, I think that would be a good starting point for the Bronze Age for Superman, although it may be a little bit earlier, because I almost feel like that was maybe 72 or 73, but I can't be sure on that. Yeah, that is an odd thing, now that I think about it, that it hasn't been collected.
Well, maybe it has. I just don't know about it.
Yeah.
Were you a fan, or did you ever read his question with Dennis Cohen?
There's the other thing. Yeah, I loved the question. There's another thing that he came up with.
That series has been poorly collected. We finally have it all, but in trade paperback, and really it could be collected in one omnibus. There's only 36 issues and a couple of annuals, and that series knew what it was from beginning. I love that series so much. It's
now, was
so
that a
good.
Charlton character?
Yeah, he was a Charlton character created by Ditko.
Yeah.
And then, he was supposed to be my boy Rorschach uh,
Right.
on the in Watchmen, but DC decided Watchmen was way too good, and nah, let's just make a new character. So
Here, Zach says there's a hardback release around 2009 called Superman Kryptonite Nevermore.
thank you, Zach. I
Thank
may
you,
have to
Zach.
check that out
I
based
want
on your
that too.
praise for it. But the way that he wrote the question was like he was a character that kind of knew what he was. He was the guy that would get beat up, shot, and then used by all these. I remember there was a really awesome scene where he like he was it was almost very meta, like where he was reading Watchmen and he looked up um to Rorschach, but it was like at the very end he was like, oh, screw that guy, because he wanted to be like him, and then he
Yeah.
ended up getting beat up. I can't remember the issue, it's been years since I've read it, but I was like, man, that is awesome. So
Yeah.
Freddie is saying there was a DC Comics classic library hardcover. Those are the standard size card covers. That was released about 11 years ago.
Okay. And Crazy Jane, yeah, Batman Shaman.
That's a
is one of my
great
all-time
book.
favorites. Sadly, it's currently out of print. I remember that run.
That was part of the Legends of the Dark Knight
Right.
storylines. I don't know why DC never properly. Well, never mind.
Well, we said it the other night that Batman and Superman just do not have enough color. When you look at X-Men and Spider-Man and Deadpool and everybody else, Daredevil, I mean, it's like the marketplace is flooded with all kinds of stuff. And Batman and Superman really don't, compared to those things, they just don't have a whole lot. They have hardly any omnis except for the Golden Age stuff, and just a bunch of trade paperbacks and maybe oversized hardcovers. Maybe.
Well, I think part of the problem is you also have a different collected editions department, right? You have a collected edition department that's full of fans that grew up with this stuff, or you have a collected editions department that's like, what the hell's the question? or who Kryptonite Nevermore? What is that? I don't, it's it's a different world
Yeah.
in how they do things. You have fans that grew up and became people now that decide to make collected editions, or you have people that just make books. I don't.
Right.
It's weird, but
Yeah.
um, but he became an editor for a while at DC. I know that because I remember seeing his
Right.
name just everywhere. And then he did a series of graphic novels, which is part of the Demons trilogy. So he did Son of the Demon, Birth of the Demon. That one came first. For Son of the Demon was Grant Morrison. Bride of the Demon.
Bride of the Demon.
Yeah, what was the first one called?
Son of the Demon.
Nope, Grant Morrison.
Oh, that was Grant Morrison?
Yeah.
Well, that was Mike Barr. Son of the Demon was Mike Barr.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, so was Bride of the Demon. That's weird.
Birth of the Demon was
okay. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He did that graphic novel. But then he did like novels, which I never read. I think like he did the novelization of the Batman Begins, stuff like that. There's a lack of DC in general from William. He's saying the lack of DC or collected Batman and Detective Comics from the 90s is ridiculous. There's a lack of DC in general from the 90s that is ridiculous.
Yeah. And another thing he did that was, I thought, very controversial, and he, just looking at some stuff online right now, he felt that he didn't do it properly, or it didn't turn out the way he really wanted it to, and that is he depowered Wonder Woman and made her a spy with Mike on art.
I never read those either. You're talking about the Diana Prince years?
Right. Yeah, that was a big deal back then, and I didn't dig it as a kid. For one thing, God rest his soul, but I just was never a fan of Mike Sekowsky's art, and I didn't like the idea of a depowered Wonder Woman. It was an interesting angle to take, making her a spy. with her mentor E Chang, or however you said his name. And they
Oh,
recently came out within the past 2 years with an omnibus of
I
it.
saw that.
Yeah. Um, and I feel the way he describes it, I think he said he was surprised at the backlash, and he realizes that maybe it wasn't the best um, path to take. But I would, even though I didn't care for it, I would argue that that is the kind of thing that you should take a chance on in comic books. If it doesn't work out, okay, but you can't keep just doing the same thing. And um, to take a chance on that, I thought, let's see, these changes did not sit well with Wonder Woman's older fans, particularly a young boy named Jess Brett. No. Feminists, and O'Neill acknowledged that depowering DC's most well-known superheroine had unintentionally alienated readers. He and artist Dick Dillon made several changes to the membership of JLA by removing founding members Martian Manhunter and Wonder Woman. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, but I would argue that taking chances like that is an important thing in comics, and if it doesn't work, well, okay. But he took a chance anyway on a major character.
I haven't read that run. I know that, I guess the older you get, the more you start regretting the choices you made. But I think it's a pretty ballsy move, right? The powering.
Yeah,
How long did that last? We were talking more than a year, right? Can you
yeah,
imagine a storyline right now for Wonder Woman to be, or Superman to be depowered for more than a year? Like
yeah,
it would never take. I mean, DC tried to do that with what? It wasn't even depowered, but Superman Grounded, the JMS run.
yeah.
Um, I was thinking the one I remember he was editor when the 900 number thing came about with killing Jason Todd.
Right.
And I remember reading years later, maybe I saw it, it was on YouTube. Somebody posted an interview with him talking about how he regrets that because he said it's weird because people see these characters as real people, right? To us it was just a character you could kill off. It was a move that we decided to do to, get people talking. And it did. Because I remember at school, I was in the 5th grade when that came out. Kids were talking about killing Robin. Kids that didn't collect comics, right? They were like, they're gonna kill Robin after all these years. And as a 5th grader, I was like one of the few comic book readers. I was like, but it's not Dick Grayson. It's just Jason Todd. Of course, I never said it out loud because I didn't want to get beat up because I was reading comic books. Different times, man. Different times. But uh, yeah, even kids that weren't collecting comic books were talking about that. So that gimmick worked, even though he regrets using it as almost like a cheap plot device to get people talking about Batman again.
Yeah.
And it worked. And look, now we got the Red Hood because of that. Well, sort of because of that, more because of
Yeah.
the Lazarus Pit, which he did make. He did create that. So
Yeah.
yeah, Red Hood has a lot to thank Dennis O'Neill for.
Here's a question for us from William. Where is a good place to start with Dennis's Batman stuff and collected editions?
Well, Jess, would you recommend the Batman? Like, I was looking at the Demon's Head trilogy or the Demon
Yeah.
trilogy. That's a really good and well collected
Tales of the
run.
Demon.
There's one that's gonna have all the trilogy
Right.
hardcover coming out later this year.
Right.
Azrael Volume 1, because we don't have an Azrael omnibus. Like, there's not that much for his Batman stuff. Like, it's because he was caught in those years that there's not a lot of collected editions in general
Right.
for.
And there will eventually, they'll eventually get to it once we get to the Bronze Age, but we got to go all the way through the Silver Age omnibuses,
Because they release them in chronological order.
which is driving me nuts. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be alive for the Bronze Age.
Yeah, Do you know how many people hit me up about that? Like, because they're worried? Because they're older, right? Like, people in their 60s are like, "I wanna
That's
see
me.
Batman get into, the Bronze Age. But they're killing me with this Golden Age and Silver Age stuff. Like, we gotta get through that before we get to the Bronze Age."
I'd even take late Silver Age Batman and Superman. That was halfway interesting stuff. But we got to wade through Batman goes to planet Zurin Lar or whatever before we get there.
Uh, Man. Yeah.
Um,
But that's the mentality at DC in their collected editions is we have to get through the chronological stuff. That's why maybe they were waiting around for so long before we got a proper Batman omnibus or Superman omnibus. It's ridiculous the number of omnis that we don't have. We're finally getting some uh some of the more bigger events collected in omnibus format, like No Man's Land's coming.
mhm.
But just looking at my shelf, man, there's so much. Fugitive, Murderer, War Games, Legacy, Contagion, like all these things post Nightfall. But I've always wanted a perfect DC Batman post Crisis on Infinite Earths collection. They're doing that slowly with the trade paperbacks, with the Dark Knight Detective and the Cape Crusader trade paperback. But
Mm.
Volume 4 of that is just now out. And those series have been canceled and resolicited. So
Um, I I don't know the answer to this one, but it's a legitimate question. Is the lack of DC from the 90s a political thing with Chuck Dixon? He's made comments that he's persona non grata with the folks at DC, which is a shame. At least we got Road to No Man's Land Omni coming. I don't
uh,
know Chuck
no.
Dixon's
I'm going to say 100% no. And I'll say
not the
why.
issue.
I don't think so because we are literally getting a JLI Omnibus Volume 2 with a guy that wrote that series that is now serving prison time, and you can look it up for yourself, whatever. He did one of the most horrible things you could do, like, to me at least, the way that I think. And he's now serving prison time, but we're still getting that omnibus with his name left out. So I don't think it's a political thing because we've
Mm.
had Chuck Dixon collections. We're getting a Chuck Dixon year one Nightwing. I really think it's that DC doesn't see enough of these things pre-ordered, so they're like, drop it. We're not doing it anymore. No more Robin. No more Birds of Prey. They didn't sell enough. So I mean, and the fact that we're still getting some other stuff means that yeah, it's not that. I know he's strongly outspoken. Um, I know some people don't like him personally, but then again, some people don't like John Byrne and still buy the crap out of his She-Hulk stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good answer. Thank you.
at least that's what I think. I could be completely wrong, and somebody at the DC Collected Editions department's like, Chuck Dixon, f off.
No, I think that's a legitimate answer that you gave there. That's a really good one. Let's see, here's a different question. What's the longest period either of you have gone through where you purchased graphic novels but never read them? How do you
And
avoid
how do you avoid a situation? I went to Jess's house this last year, and I separated his books, right? Like he had these books that were sealed, and I said, "This is your read pile, right? This is the what did I call it? The delusional pile? The one that
illusion?
the delusional pile is my favorite because it was huge. And I'm like, this is the pile you think you're gonna read, but you're never gonna get to. So who are we kidding? And then the red pile, right? Now he's been busting his ass working through these piles, which is awesome. I'm really proud of him.
Thank you.
This is a good question. Damn it. For you it's easy, right? You can look at your shelf and be like, "Oh man, that's still sealed. I bought that 10 years ago. I guess I got
Yeah,
to read that." Right? For
yeah.
me, I open all my books cuz I with the expectations of reading them. I'm trying to think what's the longest. Cuz I've read most of the stuff. What's the longest? What about you, Jess? Can you think? 10 years, is that ridiculous? Or do you think I'm
Now? Is he referring to
You purchase the book. Let's say you purchase Uncanny X-Men Volume 1,
Okay.
and you've yet to read it.
Oh, okay. Well, then I would say we're going on 6 years for some of these things then.
6 years, okay. I
Yeah.
think maybe for some of my trades, probably about the same, 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years or so. Uh, yeah, 5 years. Looking at my Omnis, 5 years.
How do you avoid such a situation?
Whew, there's
There's
that's
good.
that's an excellent question.
Um,
Take a break from buying books, but who wants to do that?
yeah, that's most of the fun. I mean, that's the best one. That's what's great about this hobby is not only is it fun to read this stuff, but it's really fun to buy this stuff.
It is.
That's why it's the best hobby. I think I don't think you can get that out of anything else. Maybe record collecting, but you certainly can't get it from stamps or coins or anything. That's
Or
why
drugs.
it's the best. What's
Or,
that?
or drugs. That high only lasts so long.
Well, that's true.
Um, yeah, that's. I guess you could take a break from reading it, or from buying things. But like I said, nobody wants to do that.
No, no, not at all.
Did you ever read any of his novels?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't even know until I looked at his obit that he wrote novels.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good question.
What do you got?
I've really been wanting to get into Nightwing. Where do you guys suggest I should start? Well, now Chuck Dixon's Nightwing is really good, right?
It's my favorite Nightwing book.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Is it properly collected? I don't know that I have it. I have Chuck
The
Dixon's Birds of Prey.
the entire Chuck Dixon Nightwing library is available in trade paperback, with the exception of year 1, but that's getting a deluxe edition later this year. So we will have all of Nightwing. And on top of that, Dennis O'Neil wrote the original miniseries that led into the Nightwing in Bloodhaven. So he did the ties that bind. So there you go. That's all in trade paperback volume 1.
There you go, Zach.
That is my suggestion.
That sounds like a great suggestion. Let's see. Don't the Batman Dark Knight Detective trade paperback volumes have good post-crisis stuff in there?
Yes, 100%. Dark Knight Detective and Cape Crusader. However, they left out year 2. Not because it's a bad story, but because it's been collected in trade paperback and deluxe editions. Oh, I'm losing my voice. I've been doing so many live streams. I bought Annihilation Conquest. This is from Drunk T. Bought Annihilation Conquest Omni 5 years ago, but finally found the first omnibus in my local comic book store. So I'm excited to break them in. Awesome. And yeah, and then Gotham Tangerilla. Saying this sounds like an addiction. Yeah, but it's a good kind of addiction. You're not gonna OD from this. Your bank account might go negative, but hey, the alternative can be worse. For Freddie Alonso, my boy Freddie Alonso is saying the longest is Infinity War. Bought Omni first day, Gauntlet reprint was announced, and not getting read till that Crusade. That's right, and the new Thanos Omnis are out, and that will be by end of 2020, brother.
Oh, there it is. Got that on the first day, and not getting read till that Crusade. The new Thanos Omni. Okay. Let's see. I've got Hickman's Avengers Volume 1. Good for you. I've been holding on to for years now, mostly because I want to read his stuff in order, and I'm waiting on a few reprints.
Yeah, that stuff reads a lot better in order. You learn to appreciate the Hick universe of the Marvel universe. Some of this stuff isn't collected in omnibus or oversized hardcover, like his Ultimates or his Ultimate Thor. And I think those add a little more to Secret Wars if you read them too.
Right, I remember reading those. That was probably the most fun readathon I've ever done. Was my Hick readathon.
You appreciate it a lot more than jumping blindly into like, and you still could read Avengers, and it's still fun and epic. With gosh, there are some issues with Avengers. His Fantastic Four is freaking brilliant, though. I
Yeah.
love his X-Men run has been, oh my gosh, so good. So frustrating. Zach, can you highlight Zach's comment? And then we'll go to
Which one?
it's
Thanks, Brad.
Zach. It's the it's so frustrating when Cape Crusader trade paperbacks skip issues just because it's iconic and collected elsewhere. I hate that too, because you wouldn't see like I've been spoiled by Marvel Epic collections. You wouldn't see an Epic collection skip any issue saying go and buy this if you want to see the whole storyline. No, they would just put the issues in there.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's frustrating. I think it was both Cape Crusader and Dark Knight Detective because of year 2.
Gotham, Omar just did a video on this, so he will know the answer to this.
That is out of stock, low stock, and going probably the next month or so will be out of print. You're talking about the Thanos Infinity Origins, right? Thanos War, Infinity Origins. Yep. That's the one with the floating Thanos head, Jess.
Right. Okay. I know what one you're talking about. That
Yeah.
I know some people don't like that cover, but I do like that cover. It's like the purple with the blue Thanos head on it.
Yeah.
Purple background, sort of light
That's
purple.
the Jim Starlin cover.
Yeah, I actually like that cover.
I got the regular cover, so.
Okay. What are your favorite DC Universe animated movies? I've only seen like 3. I liked them all. New Frontier.
I like Gotham Knight. I thought that was good. The
And
Batman
Mask of
Gotham
the
Knight.
Phantasm.
Oh, well, if we're going to go that route.
That's all I've seen.
Okay. If we're going to go there, then yes. Batman, Mystery of the Batwoman, Mask of the Phantasm, Sub-Zero, and of course Batman Beyond, the movie. The unedited movie, the uncut movie. But from newer DC, Gotham Knights is good. I agree with Jess. I think that the New Frontier is solid. The Tower of Babel, except they called it Doom, Justice League Doom, was actually if you take it for what it is, I thought it was really good. Did you ever see that one?
No.
So they animated Tower of Babel, but they changed a lot of things. It was the last thing that Dwayne McDuffie wrote before he passed away.
Oh.
Because he was known. He's the guy that that's a lot of the work he did was for DC. He wrote like 95% of the episodes of Justice League Unlimited. So what was the Batman one? There was one that I really liked. Maybe you know what? I kind of like the Red Hood story arc within those. I think there were 3 Batman, Son of Batman. Those were pretty good.
This is a legal question. Been wanting to get the Green Arrow, Green Lantern book. Will Dennis O'Neil's family get the royalties?
That's a good question. I don't know how that works.
That's a really good question. I wonder. You have to wonder if even he got royalties on him. Maybe he was just given a fat check at the beginning of it and said, "Here you go."
I know I know when I talked to Len Wein, he told me that he would get royalties for creating oh damn, the character Lucius Fox.
Oh.
So anytime Lucius Fox appeared in a Batman movie, he would get royalties for that, but 0 for creating Wolverine.
Oh,
he got 0 for creating Wolverine.
And didn't Jim Starlin say the same thing about he created Thanos? But,
Thanos 0 because it was I think before 1985. I think it's when all that changed. Around 1984, 1985 with.
But he got a big check for Steppenwolf from the Justice League movie.
Yeah. Marvel and DC were 2 different beasts because remember DC had to deal with the Siegel and Schuster lawyers, right? Because of the movie.
Right.
And that was 70s, so late 70s. Ever since then, I think DC had to change a lot of the way the contracts were written. So because of that, because of the Superman movie, and because of the families, that stepped in with lawyers. Like they changed something. I mean, that was a huge thing. That was a huge deal to
Hmm.
get those, you know, created by these people. So
Here's a question I can answer. Have either of you read the Kamandi omnibus? Opinions. Do you have an opinion? Have you read this?
I love it.
I
That's
grew up reading it, and it was my favorite Jack Kirby stuff of all that stuff. I don't know if it's considered Fourth World.
I was gonna say this is what led me to finally break down and get Fourth World.
Okay.
I had never read it before getting that omnibus, and it was the story that I told about me having to fight with Amazon to keep the price of $20 something on this omnibus that I pre-ordered years ago. I don't know if it's Fourth World either, but to me, it read like the Planet of the Ape
Yeah,
comics. I
exactly.
loved it. That was
Dots
great,
and
man.
suits and stuff. I loved it.
Definitely recommended. I don't. That one's still in print, I think.
That's one I don't have, and I should get. I liked it.
Very good before it goes out of print, Jess.
That's right.
But I want to say it's still in print. Yeah, it's still in print.
Okay.
Damn, it's $125.
What? Is it
The
on
retail price? Oh, I don't know. I was just looking at if it's still in print or not. Yeah, retail price is $125. I got that thing for $26 because Amazon done messed up, and you can't mess with your boy Omar because he'll be calling and talking to your manager. I go all Karen on people when about these books.
My first time meeting Omar, I tried to buy books from him, and he said, "You don't just pay the guy what he's asking. You got to negotiate." He negotiated against himself with me on Man of Steel trade paperbacks. It was the first time we'd ever met through the Facebook.
That's right.
Page. And he's like, "What are you doing? You got to talk me down. Come on."
I remember that. I was teaching you how to haggle, and you were like, "I don't know how to do this. I have so much money. I don't know what haggling is. How much is a banana? $5?"
I didn't say
That's right. What's up, Raz? He's saying that the Fourth World is out of print, but is getting an absolute. Would you guys get that? Would you get the? Do you think? Like, I guess the question is, do you think that the Fourth World omnibus is too big, and would you rather like get the absolutes?
I have the Fourth World omnibus. No, I don't. I specifically sold it. I have DC Universe, the Bronze Age omnibus by Jack Kirby, which I like better. I'm one of the few people that don't particularly care for the Fourth World. That's just me though. Everybody else that loves it, you're reading and looking at some of the greatest stuff ever created. It just didn't hit the right note for me, the Fourth World stuff.
I'm reading it for the first time, and it's a slow read because I'm taking my time in between series. I'm not enjoying it, maybe because I haven't gotten to the good stuff yet. I'm not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed Kamandi. But again, it's because my DC begins with Crisis on Infinite Earths. But also, I realize that this is different, right? This isn't Golden or Silver Age Superman. This is its own thing. So I'm enjoying it. The artwork is freaking awesome. I'm enjoying it for historical value. Not enjoying it so far, but I heard it gets better. For the man, I can't wait to read the next issue. Whatever value that is.
Yeah, DC did take chances back in the 70s. I mean, having Kirby take over Jimmy Olsen and work Jimmy Olsen into the
Jimmy Olsen's in there. Yep.
That was the first appearance of Darkseid was in a Jimmy Olsen. Now that I think about it,
that's so random. That's right.
Yeah, they did take a lot of chances back then. That one, of course, really paid off.
Somebody was saying that now is the time to get a Dennis O'Neil omnibus from DC, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. But for Marvel, we could get an Iron Man omnibus. He wrote enough years, like I think he did 4 or 5 years of Iron Man. He created what's his name, Obadiah Stane. So we get the Ironmonger on there. Just saying. And he did Daredevil because that's where what's her name first appeared, Yuriko, and she turned into
Lady Deathstrike.
Good job in Alpha Flight. Yep. And then, of course, he became the villain for Wolverine. Look at you, man. My man. Oh, look, you got a first-time live watcher. There you go.
Hey guys, I'm first time on a live show. What time do you have right now? It is 12:45 Eastern Standard Time, my friend. Shin Chen.
Thank you for joining
Yeah,
us
thank you.
live.
Where are you? Where are you living? Where are you coming from? There, Shin Chen. What country are you from?
I like that you're not even trying with the last name. I'm gonna try. I'll butcher it.
Okay,
Myakolev, Mikhailovic. No, Mikhailovic.
I'll say Mikhailovich.
Mikhailovich. Yep. Jess is flexing his Marvel trivia muscles. Yes, he is. He is. He was like, Lady Deathstrike.
They're a little tiny, but sometimes they pop.
Lady Deathstrike. And the question is what needs an omnibus. I am 100% behind that. It would need just one omnibus, all and done. Let's make that happen. But I'm sure right now at DC, they're asking who is Dennis O'Neil.
I would buy the heck out of the question in omnibus format.
And I wish I was kidding. Maybe a couple of guys that run the department know, but the people that are, let's make this. Oh, did you guys like the Red Hood New 52? That's the first comic I read. Let's make that enough.
Red Hood New 52.
I need to get, honestly, I need to get that in the Deathstroke. I give that a lot of shit, but I stopped reading Red Hood halfway through, and I stopped reading Deathstroke. I think Liefeld started that, wasn't it? Wasn't it Liefeld? But I heard it got better. Deathstroke got better than New 52.
Is that the Christopher Priest run?
No. That's the Rebirth stuff. That stuff is solid.
Oh, Rebirth. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
The Omnis for Teen Titans post Jeff Johns era, please. Yeah. I custom bound all my trade paperbacks into 2 Omnis. And I created the spine, the look of them, and I was really proud of those 2 when I used to have time to do for custom Omnis.
Metamorpho avatar. That's cool. Jess, have you read Legion of Superheroes, and is it any good? I've been meaning to buy the omnibuses. Omnibus Volume 3 is coming out later this month. This is where Omar always makes fun of me with Death of Pharaoh Lad, which occurs in the 2nd volume. I hesitate to recommend it to anybody that's into modern day books. It's super Silver Agey, and I love it because for strictly nostalgia reasons. It's the same reason why people would love a 90s comic that was obviously junk, but it reminds them of their childhood. Legion of Superheroes makes no sense. It's got Bouncing Boy and Shadow Lass, Chameleon Boy or King or somebody. None of these superheroes are really that superhero-ish. I don't know how Matter Eater Lad. What's that about? Like, he can eat you out of jail, and that's about it. So I can't really recommend it unless you are enough of a fan of Silver Age where you enjoy the goofiness of it. I still think that the Pharaoh Lad stories, when I was 8 years old, really meant a lot to me because they actually killed him off and he came back and haunted them. So that was pretty cool.
How many issues is that?
All together, probably 6.
Maybe we should do an old reader, new reader on your Death of Pharaoh Lad so the ladies can destroy your childhood dreams like they did mine with the Dark Phoenix saga.
There's a book, Death of Pharaoh Lad. There is a collection of it.
Yeah, I remember seeing it, and I was like, nope, not for me. I remember when he came, they brought him back in Final Night. Not the same character, of course, but it was a different one.
And then I was excited he was in the crossover Batman 66 meets the Legion of Superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
That was drawn by Mike Allred. That was awesome. I loved that. Okay, Shinshen is from Moscow.
Moscow. Nice.
Very nice.
When Mahaley is asking when I say custom omnis, you just bind single issues into a hardcover? Yeah. Yep. I used to when I had more time. Either single issues or trade paperbacks because they're the same size. You just rip off the cover of the trades. Um, and then I would design on Photoshop the dust jacket. I wouldn't put dust jackets on them. Um, but the cover, table of contents, it was a lot of fun. It's just time consuming and I don't have the time to do it. I have all the books to do Superman post Death and Return, but I just don't have the time to do it yet. Maybe one day.
That's a labor of love to do. I have a bunch of custom Omar and I did a video together maybe 2 years ago
Oh
where we
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about our custom bound books.
Mm-hmm.
It is a lot of work, but it is really fun and it's very satisfying. And I loved doing it, especially when you take a whole huge long box and you don't know what to do with all the books and you think, oh, custom bind them. And you get these really cool books. It's a lot of fun.
And now, if you look really carefully, you can find like legit ones on eBay. Like they look legit, right? But they're not. But
Is
you
that
can
a,
find. This is a custom bound of Nightwing Rebirth Volume 4. It
oh,
never came out.
how did you discover that?
Discover? I'm not Christopher Columbus.
Well, how'd you find it?
It was on eBay, man. I got a search set. People. I don't talk about it on my channel, and I don't talk about them because, you know, it's you're talking in the legal territory. But
Yeah.
I do want to tell people though, if you look carefully, sometimes on eBay you can find books like this. I know in the Facebook group sometimes people sell them, um, but it's not like I have a guy or anything. It's just I found it on eBay one day. But sometimes if you look carefully, so that's the kind of stuff that kind of kept me from doing anymore. I'm like, well, maybe one day I'll find a set out there that somebody did. I don't know how they make them. I mean, I have ideas, but I don't, you know, just they're out there.
Yeah, Mahali, it's on my channel. If you want to search my channel, it's the custom bound video with Omar. I think it was, what is this, 2020? I feel like it was 2017 almost, or 2018.
Yeah, I think it was 2017 or 2018. Is it not legal to custom bind an omnibus? Hmm, I mean, not if
Uh,
you're custom binding your own comic books. So instead of putting them, I don't know, in a uh, backboard, bag and board, you're just putting them inside of a hardcover that you yourself designed, so you own
yeah,
them. So I don't see why that would be illegal. The stuff that you find online, probably because it's different. They're not custom bound from single issues, but that's a different story.
yeah. Freddie, you're right. I do have the Batwoman custom that's got the Greg Rucka and J.H. Williams stuff, but it's not oversized, and it's also got all the ads in it,
Yeah,
which some people like, but I will be the first in line
to
to get
say
that
no.
Batwoman Omni in March of next year, and I will be happy to give away my custom bound Batwoman Omni.
Yep, yep. I'm the same way. Like I own all the new Teen Titans in custom omnibus edition, but I'm rebuying them in the new edition because I'm not a stickler for ads or yellow paper, so I want them in the best format that I can get them.
Here's some out of print questions.
It's out of print if it's Raz's. Oh,
What's up, guys? Not sure if this was asked, but any info on Lady Killer hardcover on ISD one day and gone the next?
out of stock, not out of print.
Yeah,
Like even the book market doesn't have theirs. It's just Dark Horse is playing catch up, just like everybody else right now. So yeah, it's not out of print. So if you missed out on it, that's okay. I'm sure it'll be back.
yeah. This is a case of it's nobody's fault. It's not IST's fault. It's not Diamond's fault. It's not Dark
Yeah,
Horse's fault. The pandemic happened, and just it's like throwing confetti in the air and trying to pick up the pieces in
yeah,
order. It's just really hard for everybody involved to try to stop and then start right back up 2 months later. So this is
yeah.
what
It'll be a little bit before things get back to semi normal. Yeah. So Killer Be Killed, man. That's gone. It's out of print.
That is out of print.
I hope Image reprints it. Brubaker.
That was
So.
wow. That wasn't in print very long.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I don't. Wow. I'm glad I got it. Well, you really have to get these things the first day.
Well, it's. I mean, you never know though, right? I mean, Killer Be Kill was there for a couple of months, but
Yeah.
you never know. Like, what makes that different than all the other Brubaker stuff that's still in
Right.
print?
Yeah.
You
Well,
never know how long or how long a print run is and things like that. So,
Brubaker's let a lot of his stuff go out of print.
ooh.
Fun.
Gotham is saying that he managed to snag an 8-volume Hellblazer custom. That's one of my most wanted omnis too. And on Reddit, that's also where you can sometimes find these custom omnis, both the legal ones and the ones that are maybe not so legal. If you're interested in those, so
Okay. Do either of you read more than one series at a time? No.
yes.
Okay.
um, I have yeah, I do. Like I read for my own personal enjoyment, and then I have shows like Old Reader, New Reader. We're reading We 3 for next week, so I'm reading that in between my and I was saying I was reading the Fourth World Omnibus, and now I'm gonna read Transformers. So I go back and forth.
With the Optimus Prime character named from Dennis O'Neil,
Yes,
whose
sir.
video started out remembering him, and now we are answering questions, which is actually a perfect video for me. We remember what a great guy Dennis O'Neil was, and
His
now
contribution to this amazing
and all
this
the
amazing hobby.
yeah,
So
and all the pivotal things that he was right in charge of for DC and Marvel and South Africa. That's really cool. Thank you for tuning in from South Africa.
that's awesome. Yeah, I can only do a couple more questions, and then I've been looked
Okay,
at. I've been
I
looked at. So
appreciate it.
yeah, man.
I'll answer some more questions after you leave, but I
Cool.
imagine you'll take everybody with you, and it'll drop down to like 4 people.
Not true. This is a great guy right here.
Thank you.
Uh,
Back at you.
Thanks, man. Wonder Woman by Gail Simone. I don't think that's out of print. I think that's still in print. Last I saw, I was updating my DC books that are out of print. That one wasn't on there. Oh, good question from Drunk T. Specifically with Image, reprints more dictated by creative team or Image themselves? Eric Larson said both. Sometimes it's the creative team that wants things, and then sometimes it's Image going, yeah, we're not going to waste our money with any more of those hardcovers. They're not selling.
Interesting.
So sometimes it's a little of both. I think in the case of like, I don't know, Invincible or Walking Dead, those are probably going to stay in print just because of the popularity and TV shows and things like that.
Oh, I'd love to hear your opinion on this one from Zach. What are some books that are either popular or you got recommended that you didn't enjoy or were overrated?
Oh gosh. Okay. First of all, I hate answering this question. I
Oh,
hate
well,
it.
we don't have to
No,
do
no,
it.
no, no, no. I'm going to. I hate answering this question because I always upset somebody, right? What I end up like really like somebody somebody's favorite book might
Yeah,
be my least favorite book, right?
that's true.
People love Bendis. I'm not the biggest fan. So I all right. I
I
V for
actually.
Vendetta.
Oh, really?
V for Vendetta to me got recommended so much. I finally read it 20 something years ago, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. I don't know if that was Omar expecting levels of Watchmen. Don't get me wrong, it's not terrible by any means, but I just didn't get the hype for it. I actually enjoyed the movie more than I did the comic, and yeah, so I've got a lot more, but I'll save those for another day because I'm sure somebody's like, V for Vendetta, this guy's an idiot.
Uh,
But
I
that
will.
was definitely recommended to me, and one that, yeah.
I will go with Berserk.
Ooh, ooh, that hurts. Oh, oh, that
Sorry.
hurts. That hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts. All right, my wife is here. I got to get going, but I do want to answer one more question. It's an excellent question, and it is, what is your favorite? Hey, baby. Melanie said hi.
Hey, Mel.
Um, what is your favorite Batman animated series episode? And mine is The Forgotten. Is where Bruce Wayne forgets who he is, and he's like he's in a prison. He's a slave. Oh man, I love that episode. So freaking awesome.
I like where he helps the little girl.
Which one? Where he helps the little girl. Is that the Frank Miller episode? You don't remember. What about you, Jess? What's your favorite episode of Dark Knight? Or I'm sorry, Batman.
I've only seen the first 4.
Oh.
So I will go with Joker's Christmas. That was number 4.
Joker's Christmas.
Yeah.
Joker's Christmas is excellent. And you're lucky because that was one of the first 4. Look, man, I already split the chat up. Some people are like, I actually agree. V for Vendetta, the movie's more enjoyable. And then people are like, oh, no, I love V for Vendetta. So I'm going to leave you with that, Jess. Enjoy yourself. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank
Sorry.
you, Omar.
And my youngest daughter says bye, too. We're
Thank
going to the
you.
lake. Y'all be good.
Thanks, Omar. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me, brother.
Anybody? I can see that Zach says, "Oh dang, Jess." Sorry, it just wasn't. It wasn't my cup of tea. Manga is not my cup of tea. I apologize. I know a lot of people love it. I think that's great. I wish I loved it because there's so much stuff that everybody loves, but it's just not for me. And let's see. Bruce, how's it going, buddy? Picked up Incognito and ordered Kill or Be Killed. Which one is better? I just read Incognito recently, and I liked it a lot, but I love Kill or Be Killed. This is highly subjective, strictly my own opinion. I liked Kill or Be Killed better. It's one of my favorite Brubaker books, and I don't know why whenever I talk about a book, I always have to look right at it. It's like I'm talking to it. But yeah, that's my choice there. Oh, there's Chris Stone. How's it going, buddy? You have to be British to fully appreciate V. Okay. Omar spews controversy and bails. Hit that like button. Thank you, Bobby Keating. Yeah, I do need the like button hit. Omar leaves by stirring the pot. I have 2 Zachs in the chat, so both have good questions. What has been your favorite read so far this year? Okay, wait, I actually do have an answer for that. Oh shoot, I love the David Bowie biography by Mike Allred. And shoot. Oh, why is it? I just read Private Eye and I loved it. I don't like the format, but I loved it. And I'm totally blocking. I'll tell you another book that I loved was Pearl by Bendis. This answers. Harleen. Yeah, that's what it was. Buggy Des. Zach, the other Zach says favorite Bendis book. Pearl was a great book by Bendis. I really liked it a lot. It's 2 trades, but Harleen is my book of the year so far. By Stepan wait, I have it written down. Stepan Shajic. It's Harleen, Jess. Yeah, you're right. You are 100% right. You guys know me better than I know me. Jess, I see all your bombshells. Do you have the Zatanna with Rabbit Constantine? There it is, right there. There's the upper shelf of bombshells right there with their I tried to put them with their comic book covers. So there's that. Yeah, that autobiography, not autobiography, but the biography by Mike Allred was a thing of beauty. Finally read Harleen, loved it. That is great. He did a brilliant job on that book. Great art, great writing. I love it. The Savage Shores, that was one of my top books last year. I read it last year. That was either number 1 or number 2. I highly recommend that book. That was last year's, though. Let's see. I love how everybody knows what I like better than I know what I like. Ms. Camarul knew that it was Harleen. Mostly because Kill or Be Killed had an ending. Incognito was left open, but very good too. Okay, that's a good point. Finally read Harleen, loved it. That's awesome. Yeah, this is a good book. I read this last year. It was in my top 5 Spider-Man life story. Brilliant. Utterly brilliant. This is interesting that Stephan Shayich quit working for DC to work on his webcomics. That's what he just announced. Taylor Brown and I interviewed him and maybe 3 weeks ago, and he said he was going to be working. He had so much work that he was working on with his webcomics, but he was also going to be working on, he called it an Isley book, Pamela Isley, also known as Poison Ivy. He kept calling it the Isley book. So I was surprised to see his announcement that he was utterly leaving and concentrating on webcomics. I hope that's not the whole case, because I really want to see a Poison Ivy book like that Harleen book. Jess, what did you think about Stephan going creator-owned exclusive? We'll never get Isley. I know that. Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. Yeah. Is that right, Philippe? Am I saying it right, or are you making fun of me? Because I really have been working hard on it. Should I hold out for a deluxe edition of Spider-Man Life Story? Drunk Tea, that is a great question. I didn't, and I'm quite happy that I didn't, because I got to read it right away. That's one of the few books that I bought and read immediately, because I'm always pulling books out from different time periods. Life Story was so great that I kind of think you should just get it right now and read it. That's what I would do. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I've been really trying hard. Finished Sixth Gun, loved it. Awesome. And then reread Shadow Roads. Will that make the list end of the year? I haven't read Shadow Roads. Sixth Gun, definitely. This is the problem with reading older books. I think it finished a couple of years ago. But yeah, I loved Sixth Gun. That's definitely in my top 10 for this year, Freddie. The Sixth Gun was fantastic. I loved the whole thing. Have you read Superman Grounded by JMS, Jess? Is it any good? That's a good question. That seems to be a book that the opinion depends on the person. It's very divisive, as Riley says. I liked the idea, and I liked the execution. Some people didn't. I liked it. So I liked it because I thought it took a chance. It was an interesting direction. And I thought it was better than his Earth 1 books, JMS. So that's just my take. Thank you for asking the question. Have you read Strangers in Paradise? Yes, I read it back in the 90s, and I have the collected edition of it. I will also say I don't think that's his strongest book. I like Rachel Rising and Echo and Motor Girl better than I like Strangers in Paradise. But I still like Strangers in Paradise. Hey, Jess, new subscriber here from Indonesia. Right on. Thank you. Do you read comics by chronological order or just read anything that interests you, even if it's the most recent? I don't read in chronological order. I just pull out what looks interesting to me. I will try and do sometimes, like I'm in the middle of trying to read some 90s X-Men, and I think I have to read. Let's see. I'm looking at the X-Men that I have to read because I started with X-Force. I need to read Deadpool and X-Force next, and then Cable and X-Force in my sort of X-Force readathon. And then that's the only thing I'm doing in chronological order. Otherwise, I just pull it out if it interests me and read either the series or the book. Thank you. That's a good question. Zach, what did you love reading, watching as a kid? Well, I loved comic books. I loved Pippi Longstocking as a kid. And I liked, let's see, and I liked exciting adventure stuff on television. I know this is going to sound crazy, and I'm repeating myself, but this is back when we only had 3 channels. Things like Time Tunnel, Wild Wild West, Star Trek. I loved Star Trek, the original Star Trek. That kind of stuff is what I liked watching as a kid. Thank you for asking that. Have you read Jessica Jones by Bendis? No, I haven't. And that's going to be a Crime Corner book coming up soon that Taylor Brown and I are going to review. I know the basics, but I watched the Marvel Netflix series, which I thought was chilling. I thought it was so well done. It really freaked me out. It was so well done. I kudos to Kristen Ritter. I thought she did an excellent job, and the writing for that show was great. It was spellbinding, that show. Thanks, Jess, for all the non-superhero book recommendations. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Have me reading books I would never have picked up. That's awesome. That is a super big compliment, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Philippe. I appreciate your being in the chat. Now's the time. Second trade for Shadow Roads should be out in August. Okay. I'm going to write that down. Shadow Roads. Okay. Thank you. I just started watching Harley Quinn animated series, and it is delightful. I wasn't sure if Kaylee Cuoco would do a good job as Harley, but she is perfect. Gotham, you are 100% correct. It is the best thing on television now. So fun, so funny. I love that thing. That is a gift to humanity, that show. And Lake Bell does an incredible job as Poison Ivy. I cannot say enough how much everybody needs to see that. The Harley Quinn animated series with Kaylee Cuoco as Harley. It's remarkable. It's awesome. Which book have you reread the most? That would be Justice, the Alex Ross, I always forget his name, Jim Kroger book, or Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow by Alan Moore. Those are the 2 books I've read the most. Who's your favorite X-Men? That would either be, well, Magic is more of a New Mutant, so I would say Emma Frost is my fave. Are the Tales of the Batman... Jess, did you ever try New Coke? I clicked on the wrong question. Did you ever try New Coke back in the 80s? I did, Sam. It was really sweet. It tasted like Pepsi. And it didn't last long, but it was really sweet. I have read Ice Cream Man, Zach, and you're right. It's really good. It's a horror anthology, and I think volume 4 comes out. If it hasn't already come out, it comes out soon. But yeah, it's really good. You're right. And they're standard. Let's see. I have them right here. Let me look. Yeah, they're standard sized. Okay, so let's see. Lars Gunderson asks, have you read any Tarzan by Russ Manning? No. I read a bunch of Tarzan that Joe Kubert illustrated back in the 70s. I don't know if those were adapted from Russ Manning stories. But I did read a lot of Joe Kubert's Tarzan. He was a great artist for Tarzan. I really liked him. You doing Alias, Pulse, and Jessica Jones. All good despite Bendis not closing everything, but Kelly Thompson, JJ, is still my fave. Those are the Jessica Jones books that appeared digitally first and then came out. Those are really good. Kelly Thompson is such a good writer. Those Jessica Jones books are great. There's only 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken. They're over in the closet in my Marvel shelf, a Marvel shelf. If I'm not mistaken, there's 2 of them, and they're great. But I think we'll just be doing Alias the Omnibus. Do you think Daredevil by Zdarsky will get the hardcover treatment? I do, because I'm buying the trades. So that means my sacrifice benefits you. It will get an oversized hardcover because I'm buying the trades. I've heard it's great, and I'm going to wait till I read Mark Waid's Daredevil to read Zdarsky's, and to do that, I got to finish Brubaker's Daredevil. Yes, I know I have an insane schedule of book reading, but I'm lucky too. Yes, I think Kelly Thompson JJ is my favorite JJ. Kelly Thompson's anything is my favorite anything. She's great. Jess, did you watch the Natalie Wood documentary on HBO? I did not. I didn't know there was one. Obviously, Sam, you know I am a fan of Natalie Wood. As everybody in the chat knows my life better than I do. I appreciate that. I did not know there was a documentary on her. I'd love to watch that. This is a good question. Why do you think Batman: A Death in the Family has never had an absolute or deluxe hardcover? That is a good question. My guess, and this is strictly a guess, is I think it brings up too many bad memories for people. Dialing up a 900 number, having their parents get mad at them because it cost $1 a minute or whatever it cost. And then it's the death of Jason Todd by Crowbar, with Joker. It's not a very uplifting story. There's not a lot of hope in it. There's just, it's really a heartbreaking, heart-wrenching end to a character that wasn't really that well liked. I'm going to guess that the people at DC just don't think it's popular enough. That's my guess. I don't know. Matthew, you're welcome. Thank you. I love your Velma there. That's a good avatar. Zach, yes, I am going to read that. Now, that I'm surprised has not gotten an oversized hardcover. I'm surprised Charles Soule's Daredevil hasn't gotten an oversized hardcover. I think I need to, you know what? I don't own it in trade paperback, so that's why. I need to buy it in trade paperback, and then it'll come out in hardcover. That's exactly what it is. So I'll do that for you guys. $1 million question. How did Natalie Wood die? That is a good question. It was controversial at the time, and it's still controversial. I just know she was my gal. I loved her, and it was a tragic end. God, she was beautiful and such a great actress. Skip Wade's Daredevil and just go into Chip's Daredevil. It's amazing, a new classic. Can I just go right into it without knowing anything from all previous Daredevils? Jay? Because I'll do that. I don't have to read it in chronological order. If it's like a brand new start and I don't have to know anything previously, Zdarsky's a surprise, a nice surprise, being a great writer. Yup. Okay, I'll read that. What's the best place to start with shows about British royalty or life in a simpler time? Why, Taylor, I think you're talking about Downton Abbey and Anne with an E. Those are the shows that I think you would really enjoy, seeing as much as you like British royalty and Anne of Green Gables. Those are the shows for you. Hey, OmniDog, if you already own Day Tripper Deluxe, would you still recommend getting the Absolute? I own the Deluxe, and the Deluxe is enough for me, but the Absolute is if you really love the art. If you love the art in Day Tripper, then it's worth the upgrade, in my opinion. That's the only reason to get an Absolute, is that you want the oversized art. So if you think the art is awesome, Raz, you should upgrade and get the Absolute. Oh, Dixie Wreck, that's terrible. I never heard that before. That's awful. Whoops. Whoa. Don't skip Wade. That was fantastic. Zdarsky's is good too, and you can just jump in. I have a feeling I'm just going to finish Brubaker and skip Shadowland and go right to Wade. You're welcome, Taylor. My wife and I are the ones, Sam, that are into Anne of Green Gables, and Taylor likes to jam me up about it. We're watching Anne with an E on Netflix, and my wife and I also watched Downton Abbey, which Taylor found excruciatingly boring, and he thinks that Anne of Green Gables is also boring. And he is entitled to his opinion, even though it's wrong. I loved Wade's Daredevil. It was a fun read that came at the right time for Daredevil. Okay, cool. Kenny Crayley, hey buddy, I just got 2 new Superman hardcovers. Adventures of Superman George Perez, ooh, and Adventures of Superman Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, Volume 2. That is going to be a good book, especially that Garcia Lopez one. I have Volume 1 of that. I don't have room for those anymore. Thank you, Matthew. Downton Abbey is superb. Peace and love. Thank you. Here's a good question. How's the search for some Judge Dredd going, Jess? Thank you for asking, Metal Pig. For those of you who are not up to date on my life story, as fascinating as it is, I'm looking to get into the black hole of Judge Dredd, and I put out an APB asking for suggestions, and I have landed the following books that are coming to the house. Judge Dredd, Case Files number 5, Judge Dredd Origins, Judge Dredd America. I'm getting all the Judge Anderson except for Volume 2, the Psi Files. Volume 2 is like a crazy whale that I don't know how I'm going to find it. That's the Judge Anderson, no, Psi-Ops file, I think it is. And I'm getting one other, Apocalypse War is the other Judge Dredd book that I'm getting. So thank you for asking, Metal Pig. I appreciate that. I was able to find just about everything I wanted for a really reasonable price, but I'm not paying $800 or whatever Amazon wants for Judge Anderson Volume 2, forget it. I'm not sure, Matthew says, I'm not sure I'd trust someone who didn't like Downton Abbey. I suspect they are of poor moral fiber. That's right, Taylor Brown, see? Poor moral fiber. I understand this may be too personal a question, but I always wondered what your job is, Jess. No, I have no problem answering that. Excuse me. Since 1990, I've been an individual investor in the stock market. Once I hit 61, which was this year, I pretty much got out of the stock market, and now I am in the process of being completely involved in the buying and selling, well, the selling of all my comic book collection from my whole life to pay for my health insurance. My wife is older than I am and has her health insurance taken care of, so I'm not buying any comics anymore, but I'm selling and having graded all my comic books now to sell and pay for my health insurance, and hopefully for a little travel for my wife who's now retired. Thank you for wording that the way you worded it, Joe Chip. That was I appreciate that. And I don't manage my money anymore. We turned it over to a professional, although I did fine. I did it for 30 years and I'm not out on the street, so I feel like I did a decent enough job. Have you started watching Only Fools and Horses? There's Chris J. Stone, who sends me great clips of British comedies. You know what? I would really like to. That's from the thing you sent me the clips of, right? Only Fools and Horses. That's like the biggest British comedy show in history. I actually would like to get into that. That's probably number 10, and I've got to start with Picard and finish Legion and a bunch of other TV shows. So the answer is no, but I wanna. Thank you. Tim Klein, how's it going, buddy? I did set designs for Anne of Green Gables back in the day for the play my high school did. Does that count for anything? Yeah, you're one of us, Tim. I think it counts for a lot of things. You are absolutely one of us. Whoops, I skipped some things. The Anne of Green Gables from the 80s was fantastic. Have your wife watched that? Are those the movies? If those are the 3 movies, then yeah, we did watch them. And we loved them. If you're talking about the 3 movies, I can't think of the actress, what her name was, though, but it had 2 famous actors playing Marilla and the brother, and like Geraldine Chaplin or something. I can't think of who the characters were, but it had 2 big name stars as the brother and sister. Batman Judge Dredd by Simon Beasley was pretty cool, if I remember right. You do remember right. That's where I got my interest in Judge Dredd from, and Judge Anderson. If you had to pick any writer, artist, colorist, Okay, if you had to pick any writer, artist, colorist, and cover artist for your dream book, who would they be? Okay. I would say, I'm going to say, Greg Rucka, Alex Ross, Elizabeth Brettweiser for colorist, and I don't know if he can still draw, but if he can still draw, I want the cover by Brian Boland. I feel like maybe I heard Brian Boland had some physical issues recently, which is awful. So yeah, good question. Nice choices. I was the one who posted all the pics of Dread books. Oh, that's you, Metal Pig? Okay, cool. Thank you for that. That helped me a lot. That helped me a lot. I really appreciate that. Looks like I missed the discussion on Denny O'Neil. Yeah, we did cover that in the first half hour. Looking forward to going back through and hearing what you guys had to say about The Question. My favorite comic series ever. The Question is really good. I remember in the 90s, maybe almost the late 80s, I feel like, picking it up in singles. I remember we were in our first house when we were first married, and I remember especially question number 5. For some reason, that issue stands out in my memory as a really good issue. And I feel that was like in 1989-ish, 1988-ish. So yeah, you're right. Question's fantastic, Ben. I love Question. Just I was watching videos from the very beginning. What happened to the root beer days? Root beer, I had too many ice cream floats and it made me fat. I had to lose weight. I lost like 30 pounds that I put on from all the root beer. So this is cranberry and club soda, and this is what I drink now. Yeah, when you're making like 3 videos a week and having a root beer float every time, the pounds get packed on pretty quickly. I got fat. Wait, so does this mean you have stopped collecting? I don't collect single issues anymore. I still buy collected editions, Lewis. But I don't. I've invested everything I can already into This Answers Gotham's Question, Rare Comics. They're all in my safe deposit boxes. I have several safe deposit boxes, my CGC books, and they are all in safe deposit boxes. And I've invested in those. Now, I do like to collect variants. I don't have any with me, but maybe I should do a variant show and show off all my variant issues. Those are the floppies I like. There's several cover artists that I like. So maybe I should do a variant show and show off my variant collection. What's the cranberry to club soda ratio? Let's see, in a glass like this, actually this much cranberry and then that much club soda. So like a third cranberry to 2/3 club soda. That's a good question. Thank you, Tim. Slowly puts down root beer from mouth. Hey, it's okay if you have them every once in a while. Actually, if you're young and active, you can have them every day. But I'm old and stupid, so. Here it is. My favorite root beer, Sprecher. What is the best root beer you recommend? Sprecher. I love it. It's taken the place of Frost Top. I think Sprecher's the best. Boylan also makes a good root beer. I don't like anything like Barks or Dad's or A&W, anything like that. Sprecher is delightful. Hanky Pim. Oh my gosh, I love it. Ismail, have you read any EC horror books? I have. What's your thoughts on them? They're awesome. Also, what's your opinion on Wally Wood's work? He's a genius. A tormented genius. He apparently wasn't happy with things. I don't know. You see a guy so talented, it happens all the time, and they take their own life, and you always wonder what happened. And I can never know. I thought his stuff was absolutely brilliant. And EC horror books are real horror books. Real horror books. Not like the 70s House of Mystery books from DC. These EC things go there and are really scary. Genuinely scary. Of course, and now I'm looking at them. Crime suspense stories, weird science, Tales from the Crypt, shock suspense stories. Vault of Horror and The Haunt of Fear. Those are all great books. They try and keep them in print, but they go out of print a lot. But if you want good, scary reads by top quality writers and artists, especially artists, those are the books. Good question. Just put down your Sprite. What's root beer actually? Is it like a juice? It's a soda, Joe Cool. Originally, it was made from the root of the sarsaparilla tree. That's where it got its flavor from. Now it's just mass-produced with flavorings. It's a soda like Coke or Pepsi or something. But there's actually videos on YouTube you can watch of real root beer being made where they stick in the roots of the sarsaparilla tree, and boil it up, and that's where it gets its flavor from. Norway, nice. Ice Fleeter. Thank you for joining me. That's right, baby. I do remember that. Yeah, Batman 1899 graphic 1899 1989 Batman graphic novel that had like it was like a blue or purple cover with the Joker in the background, Jack Nicholson, and Batman standing there. Is that the one you're talking about? I remember that one. Jess, I didn't know that you and I could have been talking about Anne of Green Gables all this time. Now we can, Sam. We love those movies. My daughter grew up watching them. We've seen them repeatedly. Taylor Brown's getting ready to jump off a bridge right now because he can't stand Anne of Green Gables. But yeah, buddy, we've got that in common. Let's see. Uh-oh. Had root beer floats a few days ago. I'll read together with my omnis. Root beer floats are so good. If you can get a good quality ice cream, yum. I think it's made from the sarsaparilla tree too. Try and keep your questions comic book related. That one's too hard for me. So what happened to Dew Bombs? That Dew Bomb episode of Omni Bros almost sent me to the ER. Got my heart racing so fast that I had to take like medicine to slow my heart rate down. That was crazy. Did you ever collect Heavy Metal magazine? Good question, Lars. I didn't collect the magazine, but I did read collections of the comic content, like back in the 80s and back in the 90s, I think. That had some groundbreaking stuff in it, Heavy Metal did. If Otaku Bros gets a show, so should British drama. Hey, I'm right with you. I think maybe even Taylor Brown would agree with that. I totally agree with that. Otaku Bros. Jess, I haven't read the book. I saw it on IST and by Dennis O'Neill. Okay. Yeah, I think we're talking about the same thing. The Logician, new to the channel. Love your content. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I'm doing my best to answer all your questions. I really appreciate everybody sticking with me after Omar left. Omar is a great guy with incredible knowledge of comic books, all comic books. And I appreciate you guys sticking with me after he left to give me a chance to try and answer your questions. Kenneth Crayley Jr., it's been fun reading the X-Men books since Hickman took over. The titles for a long time were not the best, but Hickman really has made the books fun again. I've heard a lot of people say that. I've only read the first hardcover, House of X, Powers of 10, and I've been collecting the Dawn of X trade paperbacks. I believe number 6 comes out this coming Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. This is a Saturday, so next week, Dawn of X comes out. Once those are all out and I've bought them all, then the omnibus is going to come out. You can thank me for that because I'm buying them all in trade paperback. And once they're all out, then I'm going to read them. DG, what advice do you have to those of us who want to read classic Marvel DC but hate the digital recolorings? For Swamp Thing, you can still get the trade paperbacks, which is what I would recommend. I'm trying to think of what else has been recolored besides the Neil Adams Batman stuff. You're going to have to wait for Bronze Age Batman to come out to get the original Neil Adams stuff. Some Bronze Age Brave and Bold has unretouched and unrecolored Neil Adams stuff. But if you can give me a particular title you're talking about, I can tell you how to find it when it's not recolored. I can tell you what the original run to look for would be. I know Swamp Thing is still available in trade paperbacks, though, and that's, if you don't dig the recoloring of that, then you should get the trades. Oh, thank you, Raz. That's nice of you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Matthew. You guys are really nice. I really appreciate that. Which do you prefer, Sandman or Hellboy? If I have to make a choice, I'm going to pick Sandman. I love Hellboy, but Sandman. Good question. Jess, what is your favorite Dennis O'Neil single issue, and what is your favorite run by him? That's easy. Green Lantern, Green Arrow 76, and it would be all of his run on Green Lantern, Green Arrow. Changed my life as a young lad of 11 and 12 back in the 70s. No question. And then coming in second would be the Batman run he did with Neil Adams. Coming in third would be the Superman issue, Kryptonite Nevermore, that he wrote, that was drawn by Kurt Swan. Good question. Thank you, Quack. Happy weekend to you, too. What is that you're building there in your Star Wars Lego? It looks massive. What is that? That is so cool. And if you built it, how long did it take you to build it? Will you be getting, from Lang 7, will you be getting the Superman Batman Omnibus Volume 1? Yes, I am. That's coming out this week. Is it even released in the US yet? It's already been released. In Stock Trades, where I get my books, is releasing it this coming week. People have already been getting it, I think maybe through Amazon. Here in the UK, it's way overdue, but still not available. Yeah, I feel your pain overseas with Diamond having troubles getting books out. I think the rest of the world is feeling the pain, comic book wise. Eventually, things are going to get back to normal, and you'll be getting your books. But I'm definitely, this is my number 2 most wanted omnibus of the year. Number 1, I don't know if it's going to happen, but if it does, you're looking at one happy Omnidog, and that's the Spectre omnibus from DC. I just can't believe they're going to do it. It just seems like it's a candidate to be canceled. But I will buy the heck out of it. The huge Death Star set. My brother and I built it over Memorial Weekend a few years back. That is so cool. I would do that, but I have no place to put it. I'd build it, and then I wouldn't know where to put it. It looks so fun, though. That's a great picture. Whoops. which volume of Dawn of X is coming out next week? Let me check. I believe it's number 6. I'm wrong. It's Dawn of X volume. Wait a minute. Don't I already have? Wait a minute. Huh. This says, yeah, no, it says Dawn of X volume 5. And then I think next month, volume 6 comes out. This is my IST new releases schedule that I'm looking at. So volume 5. Christopher. I was trying to remember from Surya. I was trying to remember the first video of yours I have seen. It's the rant video about Neil Adams' Batman Omni. Really appreciate all the what to buy and avoid these and best format suggestions. Well, thank you, Surya. I'm just trying to do the best thing I can, and that is let you guys know what I think is good and what I think is bad, and what you should buy and what you shouldn't buy. I appreciate the fact that some of you listen to me and get enjoyment out of my suggestions, and that some of you have been steered away from stuff that doesn't need to be bought. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That Neil Adams Batman is my highest viewed video, like 21,000 views. That's a lot for me. Have you read any Lobo? I have subscribed to Omar's channel, and your content is so good. I just had to subscribe to yours. Thank you. Keep up the great work, Just. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I read a lot of Lobo pre-New 52. I was not a fan. Wait, New 52. Yeah, was not a fan of New 52 Lobo, and even Cullen Bunn, when we interviewed him, didn't sound like he was. He's the writer, and he wasn't really that big a fan of him. He called him Sparkly Lobo. I read a lot of Lobo back in the 90s. So yeah, there's a really cool collection out there that's so old. It's from 1990. It's in a slipcase. It's so old it doesn't have a barcode, so it's hard to find. I don't know how rare it is, but it doesn't have a barcode, so it's hard to locate on eBay and Amazon, because you type in like Lobo slipcase, and since it doesn't have a barcode, they don't really have it listed. But my friend Nate Burkholtz, when we were looking for books in Portland, one day found it when I was with him, and it is a really cool collection. He found it first, so of course I let him have it first, but that is something that I would like to get, is that Lobo collection. What's your favorite Wally Wood material? Mad Magazine, Daredevil, EC Horror, the Disney poster he did that was so X-rated he got sued over it. He was fantastic. What a talented guy he was. Reading anything fun this weekend, Jess? Yeah, I'm reading. I'll tell you exactly what I'm reading. Where'd that other book go? I'm reading these 3 books the rest of today. I'm going to read The Legend of Wonder Woman, Volume 1, Origins. This is supposed to be a fantastic book, written by and drawn by 2 very controversial people who are accused of ripping off like everybody they ever meet. But the story is supposed to be great. So I'm going to read this. And then Omnicat and I are going to read 5 books of ours. 5 books. We're going to each read the same 5 books and review them. 2 of them are Superman Smashes the Klan and Green Lantern Legacy. They're like, this is a graphic novel for kids, but it looks really good. And this is a graphic novel for young adults. It's supposed to be fantastic. So that's the fun reading I have for the rest of the day. Although I just got an idea for a video, and that is my Mezco figures. This is a Green Lantern that lights up. when you push his ring finger into the light. That, and then my Moon Knight Mezco. I think I'm going to do a video on these two, just to show everybody how cool Mezco is. Whoops, I already saw that. Yep, Jess, you have given great recommendation. Enjoyed lots of stuff. Love the what is coming out videos too. Ah, thank you. That's good to know. I don't get that much feedback on them, so I had to take a couple months off because of the pandemic. But that's good to know that you like them, Freddie. Thank you very much. I like doing those videos. Whoop. Okay, well, we have The Logician. What is your favorite comic book publishing company? DC, Vertigo, Dark Horse, etc. If I have to choose, I grew up a DC guy. I am getting better at reading more Marvel, so I'm getting an education there. But I love Dark Horse stuff. I would say that due to my love of Hellblazer and Sandman, which didn't start out as Vertigo series, but Vertigo took them over. Preacher, DMZ, Sweet Tooth, Why the Last Man, Fables. Yeah, Vertigo. And I'm leaving off a ton. Although Image is really good too. Image has a lot of great stuff. This sounds like it's the Superman Batman omnibus. That's coming out in the United States this coming Wednesday, June 17th. Just ordered Infinite Crisis and Astonishing X-Men. Now Superman Batman is coming. My wallet misses the shutdown, I think. Astonishing X-Men is one of the books that got me into X-Men. That is one of the best X-Men books out there. The books that got me into X-Men: Astonishing X-Men, New X-Men, Uncanny X-Force. I feel like there was a fourth one. I know those three. New X-Men, Astonishing X-Men, and Uncanny X-Force. Those are the ones that got me into X-Men big time. Those are three of the best. Okay. Well, Matthew, that's really epic haul. Yeah, that is big. What is the story in the Batman Superman omnibus? Should I just get the first trade paperback with Supergirl? The Superman Batman omnibus by Jeff Loeb will have extra stories, I think, that were not included in the absolutes, I believe. All I had was the three trade paperbacks. There could have been more trade paperbacks. I don't even know. I've just reread those three trade paperbacks like 4 times and loved them all. So I want those in oversized format, and then there's extra stories. So you're better off getting the whole omnibus, Lewis. I really mean that. I'm not trying to get you to spend your money. What videos do you have coming in the near future, OmniDog? Well, I just talked about my Mezco video that I'm going to make right after this one. Taylor and I have a Batter Days in the Batcave that's getting. We pre-recorded it on because he was out of town, so that's coming out today. And I think I might do an undiscovered hidden gem. It's about time I did a hidden gem book of undiscovered, under the radar books. That's what I'll call it, under the radar books. I should do that this weekend too. Under the radar books, typically non-superhero ones. Good question. Thank you for asking, Lang7. Joe Chip, you're a fan, weren't you? What are the odds of A Walk in the Woods at Midnight coming back to life? That was the horror movie review show I did with Jenny. She got a new job at the end of last year, and even though she works out of her home, she is crazy busy with it. She doesn't even have time to watch the movies, and that is her main passion, is watching horror movies. She doesn't even have time to watch horror movies. We're going on 6 months now where we haven't had the show. I really miss it. I miss her. She's so articulate and so smart and so funny and intelligent. She is really sharp. I really miss doing those shows with her. So it's up to her. Whenever she gets a break in her job, she'll let me know and we can start doing them again. It's really just life got in the way of our doing that show. It's a much better job. She's much happier. So, bless her heart. I love her. She's great. But can't do it because of her job. Really don't remember if I picked this up because of you. Did you get to read Dark Ark? I sure did. Here it is right here. I loved it. Cullen Bunn, great horror. Great horror. I really dug the concept a lot. Do you have any of the Russ Cochran EC sets? I don't. I just have Gemstone and Dark Horse reprints. I don't have any of those. Those Russ Cochran things are fantastic, but no, I don't have it. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I don't have them. That's a great question. Thanks, DG. Wait a sec. I just there we go. Heard you discussing some horror comics earlier. Did you ever read Clean Room by Gail Simone? I think that book is Gail Simone's best work. Quite frankly, Ben, I loved Clean Room. Great art in the first 2 trade paperbacks. Beautiful art, incredibly clean lines. It suffered a little in the 3rd trade because the artist didn't stick around. The story was still remarkable. I loved Clean Room. I think it's the best thing she's ever written. Glad you got a chance to read it. That is, maybe I need to include that in my Undiscovered Gems video. Clean Room. More people need to read Clean Room. Just, do you prefer statues or action figures? I don't know. Do I have to choose? Really? Statues, I guess. If I had to choose, I'd choose statues. Smashes the Clan was awesome from Freddie. Make sure to read the extras history bit at the end. Okay. Also, thanks for hanging out today. Hey, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate all the people in the chat. This is great. I really appreciate everybody sticking around after Omar left. Just love your channel and content you have made over the years, both on your channel and on Omnibus Live. Kenny, thank you so much. That means so much to me to get live feedback from somebody that's watched my videos. I can't tell you how much that means to me. It really means a lot to me. I really mean it sincerely. Thank you. What's your all-time favorite comic book single issue? Favorite Omni? I think I just answered this one. Green Lantern, Green Arrow 76 that Denny O'Neil wrote and Neil Adams and Dick Giordano illustrated. My favorite Omni. Planetary Authority, Silver Surfer by Dan Slott. Astonishing X-Men, New X-Men. Gosh. I will say Authority. One of my action figures just collapsed at the news. Bobby Keating says, just watched your Authority Midnighter video. Thanks so much. Oh, awesome. I've been trying to collect all of Midnighter's collected editions. Great. I'm glad you got a chance to watch it. Thank you. Jess, does your daughter like the Star Wars prequels? No. No, she doesn't. She forces herself to watch them. She likes to watch everything in order, so she forces herself once a year to watch them all. I won't do that. Once was enough. But she and I both loved Rogue One. She and I both loved Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. And we tolerated Rise of Skywalker. What was it called? The latest movie. We tolerated that one. I wish it could have been better. I would love to see a what I read this week or month where you make a video showing all the books you've read from the last month or week, giving them a short review and or a recommendation. Good idea. What? No, wait. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Great idea. Thank you, Zach. I'll do that. Yeah, I just took a screenshot of that. I'm starting to get really dry. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Thank you. I will do that. For a month, I'll do that. Well, we're already in the middle of June. I wonder if I could reconstruct what I've read so far this month and do it for this month. If I don't do that, I'll do it for July. That's a great idea. Thank you. Jess, did you see the Superman 1978 movie Mezco exclusive? I did not. It's been in my cart, but I can't pull the trigger as it's 125. Just another Benjamin. I could get a Soup's hot toy. Let me look it up right now. Mezco Superman. Mezco Superman. I'm looking. Superman 1978. That's probably it. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh. I think I can screen share this. 125. Let's see if I can screen share this so everybody can know what you're talking about. Doesn't look like I can screen share it. That's weird. Huh. Yeah, that's boss. That's really boss. Let's see. Okay, maybe I can make it. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll blow it up and make it a preview, and now I can screen share it. There we go. Is that the one? That is cool looking. That is really cool looking. Yeah, gosh, for $125, that's a pretty good deal. Just another Benjamin and I could get a Soup's hot toy. Yeah, but these you can pose and they have different hands and heads and stuff. I would do this personally. That's just me though. That's cool. Any idea if the JMS Spider-Man Omni is truly out of print, or was that affected by the pandemic? It was. If you're talking about Volume 2, that's coming out in September, I think now, is when IST is getting restocked. Quack. It's just being affected by the pandemic. I've been watching your show during the quarantine. It has been really enjoyable. Lars, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Eric W. Jess, I got Big Damn Sin City hardcover and I didn't know it would be so massive. Did you ever get it? Yeah, it's sitting over on the floor over there because I didn't have any. It took up like 3 other Omnis worth of room. Yeah, the thing is huge and you'd have to get, it's not going to sit on your lap for you to read. You're going to have to get some kind of tray table or something to read it. It's ginormous. Yeah. Have you read Undertaker by Xavier Dorison? I have not. Can you tell me what it's about? I'd be interested in finding out what it's about. Kenny, yes, there will be a new episode of Batter Days in the Batcave. It's going to be at 3 o'clock. It's not live, though. We had to pre-record it because Taylor's on vacation. Wait a minute. How did I miss all these questions? Everyone leave a like. Thank you, Nathaniel. Yeah, that'd be good if everyone could hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. What is your favorite Alan Moore comic run? Mine is V for Vendetta, although Omar isn't as impressed by it. Right. I think, wow. Probably Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow is my favorite Alan Moore book. Matthew, spent all morning painting minis while I listen to Omnibros. Gonna make lunch and read some comics. I'll finish off the day with some RDR2. Nerd life is the best life. RDR2. Wait, what am I missing there? RDR2? I read that first as R2D2. What's RDR2? Oh, Red Dead Redemption 2. Yes. Yes. The Shujos are cool. Just doing the most and making these hard decisions between statues and action figures from us. The action figure was so shocked at no Golden Age Omni. Did you read Batman Red Rain and Bloodstorm? What are your thoughts on them? I don't remember liking them that much. That's just my personal opinion. They didn't stick to it. They didn't stick with me. I don't remember being that knocked out by him. That's just my opinion, though. There could be a lot of people that really liked it. What's your favorite horror movie to recommend to a newbie? So far, I've loved Hereditary and The Babadook. The Blackcoat's Daughter was awesome and one of my favorite movies. Autopsy of Jane Doe. This is where it's going to turn into a suggestion fest with everybody sending in their suggestions. What was the last movie we reviewed? I'm trying to think of the last movie that Jenny and I reviewed because I loved it so much. Babadook was great. Let me The Wailing is a Korean movie that is excellent. I haven't seen it, but Jenny always says she loves it. Let's see. Oh, wait. Let's see what the latest horror movies were that we saw. Oh, Oculus was great. We loved Oculus. Conjuring was good. Ritual was good. The Blackcoat's Daughter is still one of my favorite ones. Let's see. Sinister was crazy good. That one kept me up at night. Sinister did. Insidious was good. Let's see. Autopsy. The Descent, Room 1408 with John Cusack. That was really good. We loved that. Top, without question, Don't Breathe. That was the last movie we reviewed. Don't Breathe was amazing. Don't Breathe was crazy amazing. Yes, Mezco toys are that expensive, Matthew. They have so many points of articulation, and you can change the heads and change the hands, and it's cloth. These are cloth unis. Watch my video on it that I'm going to make right after this. Over easy, Sam. I like them over easy. It's more expensive as it has a Fortress of Solitude crystal display light up. OMG. I want it. I totally want it. It has a Fortress of Solitude light up? Holy smoke. What is your guiltiest pleasure in terms of graphic novels, comics? Something you know isn't really considered good, but you like anyway. Yeah. That's a good question. Something that's really crummy, but I love. I'm gonna have to think about that. I know I've got a guilty pleasure. Probably some kind of X-Men run that people think is awful, like X-Men Gold or something. Yeah, X-Men Gold. I'll say that's awful, and I still enjoyed it. It's terrible, but for some reason, it was right when I was in an X-Men phase last year, and I got all the trades. I still dug it, but that's my guiltiest pleasure. Miracle Man is my favorite Alan Moore. Good. That is good. Do you have any Thor omnis? If so, is there one that you would recommend above the others for someone to start out with? I would start out with Walt Simonson's Thor. Silver Age Thor is unreadable. Volume 1 is like $400. I don't know if they're ever going to reprint it. Volume 2 is expensive. They're both unreadable. It's these and thous and verily thine names, Odin's son, smite thee down. And you're like, what? No, don't bother. This Jason Aaron's Thor run is the best Thor run ever for me. You may have a different opinion, but I love this Jason Aaron run. So when that gets an omnibus, you should get that. And it will, because I bought everything in oversized hardcover, so it'll be getting an omnibus. You're welcome. I definitely sacrificed. Let's see. Which are your top 3 bombshell figures, Jess? Well, I have some bombshells upstairs that aren't here. My wife consented to let me have some space in the family room. Up there's Black Canary, Supergirl. Black Canary, Supergirl. Who else is up there? Black Canary, Supergirl. Oh, Christmas Harley Quinn, and one other. So I can't go upstairs and look at those right now, because that would mean taking the computer with me. So we'll just judge here. Here's these ones. And then here's these guys. Then I have some bombshells out here. That are pretty cool. There's, Batwoman's the other one that's upstairs in a different uniform. That's the away uniform, I think, or the home uniform. And then let me turn the lights on here. There's Raven, Starfire, Killer Frost. There we go. Halloween Batgirl. There's Bleeze in the background. She's not a bombshell, but she's awesome. Cheetah, Katana, and Big Barda. So, the one that started it all off was Harley Quinn. So I would say my favorites are probably going to be up here. My faves are going to be Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and Mira. And Zatanna. There. That's 3. I'm aware that I can't count. Good question. Thank you. Autopsy of had a Norwegian director. Okay, Lars, he did a great job. Whoops, I missed a bunch of questions. Thanks for the recommendations. Added those to the watch list. If you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend Identity. Solid cast and story, in my opinion. Okay. Undertaker is a Western about an undertaker who is charged with transporting the coffin of an ex-miner, become millionaire, back to the mining vein that made his fortune. That sounds cool. Is it a Western or a horror story? Oh. But there's an unexpected turn of events. On the eve of his death, Joe Cusco swallowed all his gold so as to carry it with him for all of eternity. Oh my gosh, I love that. Ultimates Omnibus is worth reading? Yes, that's one of the Marvel books that got me into Marvel. Ultimates is fantastic. Also worth reading is Al Ewing's Ultimates. That's also good. Just really taking it for the team on trade paperbacks. That's right. I sacrifice so that you guys can get your omnis. Just thou please thee not smite thou who be Omar sundown. Right, exactly. Did you read Bronze Age Legion of Superheroes? Paul Levitz and Giffen. Did you enjoy it? I thought Paul Levitz did a good job. I did not read all of it, but what I read, I really liked it. I thought it was good. I thought the Paul Levitz written stuff was really good. Just definitely has one of the best nerd layers ever. Thank you. Nice figures and statues. Thank you. Mira's statue looks amazing. Yeah, she's cool. Asked for bombshell figures, but I fell in love with that Zatanna besides Big Barda and your collection room instead. I can show you my statues if you want. I mean, this is just hanging out on a Saturday, and you guys are nice enough to stick with me. So I'll show you some more statues. Need to make sure to show the ones upstairs in an updated room tour, right? Even if you're not highlighting where they're placed. Thanks for taking us around. Video just became an episode of MTV's Cribs, just Omnidog Brag Edition. Exactly. Stop liking books, Jess. I can't keep up with how much good stuff there is. Oh no, I forgot all about Herbie Popnecker. I gotta read those books, Sam. Nightfall? I hate Nightfall. You know that I hate Nightfall, don't you? I can't stand that series. Is that why you got the emoji? Okay, let's go on a tour of my statues. Okay, let's see how I can do this. I don't think you're going to be able to see her that well because this is impromptu and I don't have the lights on in the room. But yeah, you can't really see her in there. There's Wonder Woman there. And yeah, it's too dark. You can't see Red Sonja. Here's my spider door. I will definitely do a room tour and show off that room. Here is Black Canary, Jane Foster. Okay, let me try it. There we go. Jane Foster, Harley Quinn. I'm trying to do it so you guys don't get seasick. Harley Quinn, Power Girl, and Emma Frost. Those are my sideshows there. Then you've got sideshows here with Gwen and Mary Jane and Black Cat. Okay, then you have these are considered bombshells, Supergirl and Batgirl. And then this is the motorcycle, Gotham City Garage, Harley, Supergirl, and Wonder Woman. And then these are sideshows here, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Supergirl, whoops, there's my head, Captain Marvel, and Zatanna. I can see some stuff that needs some dusting here. Then, if I had known we were doing this, I'd have gotten the lighting a lot better. I don't know, can you see this? There we go. There's Mira and Batgirl. Zatanna. There we go. Zatanna, Black Canary, Catwoman. And then over here, let's let it get adjusted to the lighting. There we go. Power Girl, Catwoman, Harley Quinn back there, Batgirl, and Supergirl. Couple of Catwomans. There's a Catwoman there. Yeah, it's a little dark. I didn't know we were going to be doing this. There we go. What's with the glowing eyes on the top of the shelf? Glowing eyes on the top of the shelf? You mean my Christmas lights? Christmas lights? Is the 7-iron the most versatile club? Yes. What's with the glowing eyes on top of the shelf? I'm not sure what you mean, Ms. Camarol. Do you keep the boxes your statues came in? Yes. Okay. Here's the Harley Quinn shrine. I'm sorry the lighting's not better. I'll have it lit much better when we do my room tour. And let's see if I can get closer. Hawk Girl, Power Girl, Harley, Poison Ivy. And then you've seen all the bombshells. And you like that Zatanna? Somebody really liked the Zatanna. There's Mira, Poison Ivy, and Wonder Woman. And then the wall of statues. And Harley Quinn from Mondo. Okay, how many people did I lose? Oh, I gained people. Good. Thank you for sitting through that. Okay. Have you ever inventoryized all the statues you have? I know all the statues I have. I don't know that I've ever done inventory on them. No, I haven't done that. My wife enabled me. She let me become a big nerd. I think the nerdiness really sprang out probably in the 90s. My wife encouraged it. She didn't care. You thought there was a bet that I was supposed to read Nightfall? I don't think so. We still have to read Batman Damned. We need to do that like soon. I will be doing an updated omnibus collection later this year. I'll definitely do that. Quack. I will do all levels of the house will get into the action on my updated video. I'll do all statues, all books, all levels of the house, all toys, everything. So actually, I'm running out of juice on my computer. I want to thank everybody. You guys were great. I really appreciate the fact that you all stuck. You listened to our tribute to Denny O'Neil, and you stuck with me and let me answer your questions. Really appreciate that. You guys are great. I can't tell you how much this means to me that you guys all stuck around and listen to me yap about comics and how I like my eggs and other stuff like that. So please feel free to leave a like. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment. And I will be doing, I'm going to give my voice a short break. Then I'm going to be doing a Mezco commercial. Ha! They'll probably think it's a commercial. A Mezco video. The Patterdays in the Batcave is next at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And Omni Bros Live, it's tomorrow at noon. And I appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you all. Peace and love. Peace and love.